Before you go further though, talking about NEC, we had a situation where this present administration has banned observers, because you said that you were one of the observers even before.
I'm going to unban that ban immediately I'm inaugurated by the grace of God.
That's one that is of interest to us.
I am going to unban, I'm going to remove that ban. It's going to, in fact, I found out that that is one of the greatest reasons why people are complaining of disconnection between the leadership and the followership of the bar. They don't know what goes on. Some are even describing our NEC now as which is not so. It's supposed to be open. The truth is this: the best idea can come from an observer. Yes. The truth is also there. If I say that we have not been taking decisions by voting, most of our decisions are by consensus. So what evil, what damage are the observers coming to do? I cannot see any. So in order to bridge the gap, in order to give a sense of belonging, in order to widen participatory democracy within the bar itself, I am going to remove the ban. All right? And not only that, part of our corporate governance is the allegation of commercialization of our conferences. You know, I happen to be the first candidate that made it an issue. Because even at NEC meetings, I have said it a couple of times, that I cannot rationalize between charging our members exorbitant conference registration fees, while at the same time declaring profit for the same members. All right? Why don't we bring registration fees to an affordable level so that both the senior and the juniors can have access and be happy? Over the years, the
conference is just once a year anyway.
It's just once in a year. Yes. But if you also notice, from 2012, especially, and surprisingly too, some branches have refused, some members have refused to register for conferences out of protest that the registration fees have become highly exorbitant. And again, we must fall back into pedigree. You cannot judge a man by his promises. You cannot judge a woman by her promises. You can only judge a man or a woman by their past. Of all the candidates, I want to say without any hesitation that I am one candidate that has put tangible priority over the welfare of junior members of the bar. And in 2002 to 2004, we did something tangible in that direction, by way of fixing what we called minimum wage standard, by way of putting in place a functional insurance policy for all Nigerian lawyers without extra charge to them.
I want us to talk about some integrity issues that some lawyers think may affect you and your chances. There's this petition to the Egbe Amofin Screening Committee from lawyers, a group called Lawyers for Integrity, that you were arrested in 2005 by the EFCC, and it was reported by the Punch newspapers that you were linked to the former governor of Bayelsa State, Alami Esia. So I want to know what the real issue is. Were you arrested? Did you write to Punch to retract that story? What exactly happened?
This petition is not only fallacious, empty, untrue, and it is mischievously motivated. I know the person behind it. I have confronted him. He has denied. The person behind it is one of the candidates from the West. He has denied it openly. And if you say anything about me and you deny it in my back, and you deny it before me, I don't have to fight over it. What happened in 2005 is this. In 2005, Alamesia was arrested with some two gentlemen. One of them was a lawyer and a very highly placed individual in the society today. He happened to be very close to me. We were sharing the same building, but running two parallel offices. Over a period of time, we became so close that we became brothers.
This person is a lawyer?
This person is a lawyer, and is highly placed now. So in 2005, he was arrested with Alamesia and some other people. And for somebody who was in my office and arrested, I believe a sense of duty and morality, we demand that I do something about it. So I traveled to Abuja, to the EFCC, to seek his release. I got there, I think, about 12. And
12 in the afternoon?
About 12 in the afternoon. Okay. About 6 p.m., I got to speak with one of the officers. And I considered that his approach to me was very rough. And I won't say insultive now, but was very intimidating. And I thought nobody can intimidate me. In any event, I just finished my tenure as General Secretary of the Bar a year before. So I should be able to enter a public place and then defend the right of some other people. That was my motivation. So he addressed me in some manner which I considered was not acceptable to me, and I gave it back. He became furious and angry. He said, by the way, they said that you are a friend of this person. Why are you a friend of criminals? I said, who made him a criminal? Which court of law has adjudged him to be one? I said, you cannot choose my friend for me. I choose my friends. He said, are you talking to me like that? I said, I can talk to you anyhow. He said, you are not in your yacht. You are here. We are the Lord and Master here. I said, no, you are not the Lord and Master here. This is a public place.
This was at the EFCC?
Yes. One thing led to the other. The man said, go and lock him up. And that was about 7, 8 p.m. I became furious. But of course, I was helpless. He said, give him a statement. Let him go and write a statement. I said, clear conscience does not fear any accusation. If you give me big nose, I will write what I know. You understand? And I wrote that statement, and I said, if you find 1 naira of Bayelsa State government in my account, don't bother to prosecute me. I will plead guilty to your charge.
So this was the condition under which you were arrested?
This was the situation. And I was not arrested.
Okay. He said,
No invitation to me from EFCC. No sending either by person coming to my office to say you are arrested or you are invited by a letter. No, I was the one who flew to Abuja because of the gentleman I talked about.
And then they locked you
So I was locked up.
Okay.
With them. For that night, with them, with the friend I went for that night, I became very furious. And the following day, people started coming because of that Punch publication. And surprisingly, they said, MBA bigwig arrested. Was I a bigwig really in 2005?
You had just left office.
So, by about 9:10 in the morning, Nuhu Ribadu drove to the office, and he heard what happened. And he said, no, Mr. Adesina is one of the people in the legal profession that we can rely on for this job.
There's another issue. This one, they say, was reported by Sahara reporters, that you were used as a conduit for government officials on the controversial Malabo case. They say the Abacha family is involved because it's an oil block owned by Dan Etete and Abacha, and that's, you were used as a conduit. So what is the true story?
Some of the things that they have said, I believe, because they see the level God has raised people like us, they begin to ask, how did he get there? So I am therefore not surprised. In fact, my spiritual principle is that until God blesses you to a point when you become an envy to your world, you haven't got there. All right? This is another, in fact, I've never had this before, that I was acting as a conduit pipe to some government officials.
In the controversial Malibu
I
case.
I've said that 3 times, most emphatically, acted for any government, either state or federal, as far as Malabo is concerned. I've been Malabu's lawyer since 2001, and everything I've done about Malabo were appearing in courts. The Federal High Court Abuja, the Federal High Court Lagos, the arbitration panel in UK. Are you getting me? Once you take a case, you are duty-bound to defend that case to the best of your professional ability within the context of the ethical standard required. You get my point? After all, armed robbers are entitled to be defended. So I do not see anything wrong if I have acted as a counsel on record for Malabo in the cases that Malabo had.
Then another allegation that you accompanied the then president of the Federal Republic on a state visit to China without clearance from the president of the NBA at the time.
In 2002, there was a judgment of on the Bakassi. I happened to be the first legal practitioner to comment on that judgment and on China's television program. Shortly thereafter, there was a courtesy visit to Mr. President.
The NBA?
The NBA. There was a courtesy visit to Mr. President. And we were all there. We left the courtesy call and went back to our different stations. Shortly thereafter, I received a phone call from the Honorable Attorney General. He's alive today. I think the Attorney General at that time was Mr. Kano Agabi, SAN, that I should furnish my passport to the office of the Attorney General for that I should bring my passport.
For this trip?
For this trip.
Okay.
I went. By that time, I called Mr. President. The president was in court. And by the time that thing was ready, I returned to Lagos. The trip took place in the evening of that same day. I could only get to speak to Mr. President on phone.
Mr. President of the NBA?
Yes, that was Chief Wole Olanipekun, SAN.
So
I called him on phone and we spoke. I told him the circumstances and he wished me well.
So he gave you his permission?
He gave his permission. Okay. Chief Wole Olanipekun is alive today. Yes. And let me say that ESCO, till today, has remained one of the most cohesive ESCOs NBA has ever produced. The officers are still in touch with each other today. If there was such misgiving between me and Chief Wole Olanipekun, I don't think we'll be close as much as we are.
Okay, so let's end with your thoughts about the electoral guidelines. Do you think that it would give Nigerian lawyers the kind of president that they want to see at this time?
Before I talk about the guidelines, let me identify the kind of president I believe the lawyers want to see now. A society is never static or stagnant. There's either a movement for approval or a movement towards disapproval. There is a movement towards disapproval of the status quo in the Nigerian Bar Association in so many areas. In the areas of corporate governance, like I've said before, NEC has virtually become a rubber stamp. In the areas of welfare of Nigerian lawyers, most junior members of the bar, including some seniors, are beginning to see MBA as their MBA. In fact, a very senior member of the Bar Association sat me down and said, Dele, I wish you good luck in this election. I fear for the MBA. He said the MBA that we have today is not the MBA we used to have in the past, when lawyers are defined as either conservatives or progressives in MBA. A good number of the guidelines are already embedded in our Constitution. The only one that is not in the Constitution is the one that says, don't eat, don't drink, don't urinate, don't piss. That's the one that says you must not travel. I want to believe that that was probably motivated by the desire to protect and to stop exposing the candidates to the dangers, perhaps, of traveling on the road, in the air, and what have you. You will still recall that very recently we lost the Secretary of Lagos branch on his way to attend the NEC meeting. I'm only saying maybe because I would like to ascribe good intentions to whatever a lawyer is doing. But my answer to that is that there's risk in everything. Even when you sit under the roof of your house, if it is your day to die, nothing will change it. It is appointed unto man, you know, to die someday, somehow, somewhere.
So you're comfortable with all the guidelines?
As for me,
Apart from that one
that particular one is the only plan. Nobody is obeying that particular one. Everybody is traveling. Everybody is selling himself or herself. The truth is that people need to know what your programs are. And you need to know the kind of questions that the branches are asking when we get to them.
That is our interview segment and the program for today. If you missed any part of it, you can log into our YouTube page to view it. Share any comments or questions you have with me via any of the addresses on the screen. And if you have questions you'd like me to ask any of the other presidential candidates for the NBA, please feel free to send them in. Use the hashtag NBA Decides. I am Shola Sheyeli. Thank you for watching.